Council to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time I'll call Tom Milbrook forward to administer the oath of office to the newly elected.
The newly re-elected. Okay, at this time I'd like to ask the mayor and the three newly elected council members to please stand and take the oath of office. Raise your right hand and state after me. I
Scott Burns.
Do solemnly swear
That
that I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the Constitution and laws
of the state of Minnesota
of the state of Minnesota
and of the United States,
and of the United States,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of
mayor
of the city of Marshall.
of the city of Marshall.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Tom. We have an agenda before us. Are there any items to add to that agenda? I believe you have one to take off.
Number 17, the closed session discussions will not be presented this evening. I have been working on, I thought that I was going to get a proposal between the time that it was printed and distributed. I've not received that, so I have nothing to bring to the table this evening.
Any items to be added or deleted from the agenda? Not will operate under that agenda. The first item that is considered approval of the minutes of the joint City Council WMMC Board of Directors meeting held on November 17th. We also had a regular City Council meeting on November 17th and a special City Council meeting on November 25th. The Council does have the minutes of all of those meetings. Are there any corrections to note at this time?
Move to approve the minutes as printed. Second.
Motion by Larry, seconded by Charlie to approve as they are printed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 2 is a consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are a owner's license for Devlin Workman doing business at Workman Mechanical. We have a temporary on-sale liquor license for the FSMSU Booster Club for an event February 24, 2009. Third is a Marshall Aquatic Center renovation project. We have the acknowledgement of the final payment application. Fourth is the 2009 wastewater service user rates. Item would be the call for a public hearing. Fifth would be the surface water management utility rates for 2009. Once again, the action item here would be to call for a public hearing. And then finally are the bills and the project payments, and then also for information purposes are the building permits that have been previously approved by city staff. So is there any item on the consent agenda any member of the council wants removed for purposes of separate discussion?
Move approval of the consent agenda. Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Dan to approve all of the items on the consent agenda. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 3 is the first item of new business. This would be a information item. This is a summary of the Economic Development Summit, and Mark Hansen is here to discuss that summary.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you have seen in your packet, you have the EDA Summit Tour handout that we gave during the summit. The summit was held on November 21st. The invitees were the county commissioners, city council, the members of the EDA, the members of the executive team from the chamber, and members of the ID committee. The tour essentially was, the summit was essentially given to discuss economic development opportunities in our community. The summit started off with a tour made of 10 stops, different stops throughout the community, commercial stops, engineering stops to discuss stormwater areas. We also discussed our new acquired property that we have, which is the Sonsgard Rook properties. Really went into great detail of what's going on in those areas, what's happening, and what the opportunities are. Did want to discuss a couple of them with you. First of all, number 1, Block 11. Block 11 is the gravel area around Varsity Pub, which is owned by the city. We're looking at making some decisions on what to do with this property. That was one of the outcomes of the summit, was that the city needs to discuss and come up with a plan to what to do with Block 11. And it was suggested that the EDA come up with that plan and bring that plan forward to the city council. Along with that, we discussed the 2 new industrial park properties, which is number 7, priorly known as the South Square property and the Durk property. And as a result of the summit, it was stated that the EDA should come up with a formulation of a staged development of these properties, come up with certain ramifications of a 20-acre parcels, 4-acre parcels, et cetera, that would allow for a variety of development to occur on those areas. After the tour, we convened at Landmark Bistro to discuss, opportunities and some possible changes with our economic development future. One big change that was proposed was that the EDA would be responsible for marketing and developing a commercial property in the city of Marshall. We have commercial properties now that are in need of attention, and through the discussion of the summit, it appeared that there was agreement that the EDA would be that entity. So on the next EDA meeting, which will be next Tuesday, we'll discuss that topic and bring a suggestion to the council on how we go about developing and marketing our commercial properties. I guess with that, if there's any questions, I'll be open for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Questions for Mark? No, thank you very much.
I do have one other thing
Yes.
here. I believe in your packet you all received a copy of the Prairie Business Magazine, and on pages 32, 34, starting on page 28 on through page 39 is discussing the topic of micropolitans. The city of Marshall was rated number 4 micropolitan in this magazine and rated number 1 micropolitan in Minnesota. Micropolitan is any city that is populated from 10,000 to 50,000 people. I noticed that the city of Aberdeen was a large spotlight in this magazine, so I called the editor and said, we'd really like to see how Marshall could get that spotlight. Well, after a discussion with him, he called me back, and Rick Killian, the editor of this magazine, will be here in Marshall tomorrow, and we'll be interviewing community leaders, and we'll be having a spotlight in this magazine in February. So we're going to be giving him as much information about Marshall as we can, photos, copy, and we're going to have, like I said, face-to-face interviews tomorrow at 10:30. So very excited about that. So we'll be in the February issue, and I guess I'll just more for information for everybody.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item number 4 is from the Adult Community Center. We have 2 items here. First would be to approve the agreement with Marshall Area Senior Citizens, and the second would be approve the annual lease agreement with Lutheran Social Services. My understanding that both of these yearly rental agreements are without any change from the previous agreement. Ben, do you have any other details you want to add?
I have nothing, Your Honor, members of the council, to add to that comment. Mr. Wyloggy is out of the office today and was unable to come this evening. If there are any concerns or questions, I think either one of these could be tabled for the next meeting, but he had indicated that it's pretty much the same terms and conditions as that previously been reviewed. I'd asked whether there were any discussion points related to increased charges that should be considered, and he didn't have any that he recommended. So I have nothing really to add this evening in relation to that information that was provided.
Okay. And Larry, do you have anything to add from this?
Well, at Senior Citizens meeting that we had here about 3 weeks ago, we reviewed both the monthly rate and also what LSS provides or pays for meals that are produced there. And Barb is okay with that, and she thinks that that's a workable thing. So it was passed at that board meeting. So I'd like to make a recommendation that we approve.
And is that in the form of a motion?
That's correct.
Okay, Larry makes a motion to approve both the agreement with Marshall Area Senior Citizen Center and the annual lease agreement with Lutheran Social Service. Seconded by Mike. Now, discussion on that motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just for background for some of the council, the meal thing started out at 6 cents when I was first on in Larry's spot. And it's been gradually increased to the present 20 cents, so that's a pretty good deal. And if I remember correctly, Bob, you probably have a better memory than I on this one, that the other agreement was $500 a month and it's been pumped once up to the $550, or it's been at the $550 since I've been on the council.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it has been moved more, if it has changed, it's been one time, I think, so.
I think it went from 5 to 550 right after I got on the council in '93, so it's, for 550, it's been a pretty consistent number. Inflation hasn't caught up with that one yet.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? If not, I will call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 5 is a reconsideration of the amendment number 2, the first development contract for the Carr Estates Edition. Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This agreement is for an option for the purchase of these 3 lots, 1, 2, and 3, immediately adjacent to Saratoga Street on the east side. If you recall, we had an original option agreement with them that they were for $1,000, not for each, but for all 3, and that he would keep those open for us. And the purchase, the easement, the option price, would be credited against the purchase price. That ran out. We proposed another amendment that we would continue to pay the $1,000 and would still be credited. He disagrees with that, and the reason for that is because it doesn't cover the taxes on the property even. And that was why he wanted to renegotiate the $1,000 option agreement as well. So, in fact, that he's paying those taxes on a regular basis, not coming up with the amount that it even covered the taxes, and has to keep these open for the city to option those lots. I assume we'd have right of first refusal, even though it doesn't say that in there. But we have an option to purchase those during that period of time. So that ran out. We're trying to extend it, and the only reason we wanted to extend it is because there's 2 items in the works. One, this overpass at Saratoga Street is included in the Chamber of Commerce transportation plan that's currently being proposed in Washington through their consultant, their lobbyist in Washington. We've also had a request from MnDOT for potential projects that may be eligible for funding under an economic stimulus plan or additional state money that could be coming to the state from the feds. Kind of the same type of thing that we're looking for from the feds to start. So in saying that, there are options on the table for the potential development of that overpass, knowing full well that the city could not afford to install that ourselves over the 4-lane highway. We need that funding. Without that, it's not on really the MnDOT's plan for funding. So in the meantime, we either let the option go, or we extend it for $1,000 for next year, and then for the period of July of '08 to June of '09, and then negotiate it each year thereafter with the amounts paid not credited to the purchase price. Otherwise, then you would have the availability to sell those properties, and if in fact we would want to put the overpass, we'd buy the property with the house on it, which would be considerably more expensive, of course. So that's what we're bringing forward to you. He's willing to sign the agreement as written, or we would have the authority to opt out of the option. agreement. We recommend that you do that because of our potential funding sources over the next 6 to 12 months.
Thank you, Glenn. Questions for Glenn?
Glenn, the way that option is stated today, we're spending $1,000 for these 3 lots basically to purchase those. Is that
For
credited?
the ability to purchase
Yeah.
with none of it towards the purchase price. And the reason for that is it costs them, currently, I did check the numbers, it costs them $1,200 for the taxes,
For all 3.
roughly.
But that includes, I'm assuming, the special assessments, just the taxes. I guess I have a question for Dennis. My only concern would be the previously paid, because we had a written agreement, legally binding agreement at that time. Can we change that now? I mean, the original agreement said that money applied toward future purchase price.
But that was for a specific duration. That has expired. We did not exercise that option during that period of time.
That's correct.
So, but the proposal here says that that money's given.
Did you get a new one, Dennis? You have the revised?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So that has changed.
Okay.
But can we change conditions that were in a previous contract? I guess?
Yes, because that previous contract has expired.
Okay.
Yep, so now, starting over. Yep. And so he's changing the annual payments, and he's also requesting that those not be applied against the purchase price, so. And that's all you're buying, you're buying the right to lock up those at some future time.
Until June 2009.
Yeah, just for 1 year.
So you'd be.
And then renegotiate thereafter. So if, for instance, we know we weren't going to get any money for an overpass, that would be the decision we make at that time, the yes or no. And that will be coming again to you in June of 2009.
I would like to suggest, at least in that agreement, that where it says the creditor previously paid, that we identify that number, because that was under a different contract, so we know specifically what number of years. I don't care how we do it, just.
With that contract we had before, it being it's expired, that $5,000 had been prepaid before is all gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
That's
he's
not-
back to zero with those.
Because that's not applicable to a new contract.
Yeah, right.
Yep,
But it expired 6 months ago.
that's right. Yeah, it expired 6 months ago. He could have, sold the property to somebody else.
We kind of intended for it to not be reissued. We didn't have the expectation that we would be building an overpass there in the near or closely distant future, 10, 15 years, because of the lack of state money to be put into it.
I understand, but paying whatever, $1,000 a year, maybe it goes up 5% each year, it's still gonna be a lot cheaper in the long run than buying that property when we do want to do it, particularly if there's 3 houses sitting on the 3 lots.
Absolutely.
His intent would be that the option agreement after July covers at least the taxes, if not some additional to cover what he's paid before, but that's a negotiation with the property.
I think it's pretty cheap insurance to continue to go forward with that versus, like Mike said, having to purchase that 5 or 10 years with $250,000 houses on it. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Larry, second by Mike, to approve the first development contract with Carr Estates addition. Discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 6 is consideration of the agreement for the deferred assessment in the Club 59 addition improvement. Once again, Glenn.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You acted on one of these at your last meeting as well. This owner came into the city, was not able to make connections with the city prior to them bringing this in. They did bring this in today and requested the deferral. It has not been certified at this time yet by staff downstairs, and we would recommend approval of the deferred assessment of this one piece of property.
This will make a total of 3 properties.
12-3, 2, 1 undeveloped, 1 home, and this would be the second one.
Okay.
All the rest intend to hook up within the next 12 months.
I'll make a motion to approve it. Second.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Mike to approve the deferment request. Discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 7, consideration of resolution for municipal aid streets funds advance, and these would be for the Windstar Street from Trunk Highway 59 to Clarice Avenue, a portion of Clarice from Windstar Street to Boyer Drive, a portion of Clarice from Boyer Drive to Susan Drive, and Clarice Avenue from Susan Drive to Trunk Highway 23. Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is also, this is a summary of the work that's planned to be constructed in 2008 and 2009. What you're looking for there is a resolution for the state aid advance for these sections of the property. This section of the project is currently under construction. We have about $850 plus minus $1,000 in the state aid account, with about $500-some thousand to be appropriated on an annual basis. So we have enough either in the bank or allocated for 2009 to cover 100% of this. The state has a process of what's called advanced state aid funding. They have monies available that other cities are not using, and they actually give you an additional credit for future allocations based upon your city, this city, taking advantage of available municipal state aid funds that are not being utilized by other communities. As far as some communities go, and we ran into this when I first came here, if you don't use that state aid allocation, and if you accumulate more than 3 years of allocation, you start getting penalized, and they start reducing what you don't use, and allocating that out to the communities that do use it. And this is one of those cases where it's kind of a win-win situation. You've got the guarantees of the money coming to pay off those future allocations from the state aid fund, which you then get in advance. And you also then get a credit for being below zero in your account, saying that you're developing and using and needing those funds and getting them from the communities that aren't using them. So this resolution includes this portion of Windstar Street from Trunk Highway 59 to Clarice, Clarice to Boyer, Boyer to Susan, and the next section Susan to 23, for a total of about $1.765 million. And that then would be repaid directly from a certain procedure that we would get to choose. That's either all at once after it's accumulated, 5 equal installments, or a dollar amount in accordance with kind of each year if we wanted to set a schedule. It doesn't get much better than that. And the reason that I had selected the 5 equal payments is because we wouldn't have to use 100% of our total state aid allocation on the annual basis to repay them. We would still have some extra money each year to allocate to other state aid projects that we normally have. Curves can certainly accelerate that, but the reason we wouldn't want to is because the interest rate is so low and we get credits for it being low.
That was my question. They charge us interest in essence over borrowing in advance.
Yes.
At what kind of a rate?
And I believe it's about 3%.
So there'd be no advantage to pay it back over 15 annual installments?
No, and the longest period of time you can use is 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Glenn, is there an issue with, since Windstar Street will not connect directly at this time with Highway 59, can we still use state aid funds?
Yes, it's eligible because it's part of the state aid system. The route connects either state highways, county highways, or other municipal state aid highways, county state aid highways, like 33 is County Road 33, any of those types of roadways. And you can construct any, all, or part of those, as long as it's on the system.
Maybe, and I know you explained this in the past, and you explained it on the tour, but maybe just reinforce that intersection isn't going to be complete at this time.
Correct. The city had requested, of course, a full intersection right here. And when that went to MnDOT, MnDOT said they would not allow two full intersections this close together. Boyer Drive is signalized at this point in time. Windstar Street is not. It's open. We want to make the improvements there. Our proposal was we make the improvements, we make it subject to things like putting conduits under the roadway, having the whole design there for the installation of signals, making it fully ready to put signals there if and when this intersection warrants signalization. The answer was no, and the reason that was no is because they believed that the stacking distance for cars making a left-hand turn onto Windstar would back up into this intersection. We vehemently disagreed with that in stating that this not only will continue to be the main entrance to this subdivision for many years to come, I'll say 5 to 10 years to come, until anything develops here and here. The reason for that is that Menard's main entrance to their facility is located off Boyer Drive, as is their truck facility. So they wouldn't be using this for their trucking, nor their customers. The development of this entire quadrant is going to be coming from this direction or this direction. When and if this was ever improved so that this became the major crossover, we said then you'd make this closure of the crossover and relocate the signals. We believe that even leaving it with this open and this open, this will continue then, like we said when Super Walmart developed, to be the intersection that develops traffic and will then generate the needs for the signalization here prior to it being needed here. The answer, I had to ask 3 times like a good salesman is supposed to ask, and then you say no 3 times. And they told me no 3 times. That no, we will not allow this to be open until this is closed in the median and the signals relocated, even if this does not warrant signalization, which we don't understand, but that is in writing. It was denied for this to be there. Now, this is a full intersection other than that, other than the straight across. You can go, it's not a right in, right out. It's full into, northbound, southbound, in and out from both.
They still will not allow you to put the conduit and piping for future signals.
We may put that in. We were working with MNU. That would be 100% local cost if we did that. And yeah, we'll probably be putting some plastic pipe in there for conduits. Rather than, you can always jack and bore those at a future date as well. It's just not as convenient. So we'll work with them on what's an applicable closure here, whether that's 4 type 3 barricades or if it has to be curved through. We'd like to leave it because we already have a good radius already installed in concrete there. So we'll have to work that out. But he's right, we will not have a direct connection eastbound or to get on here. All the traffic will come through here, and that's what we intended anyway.
Question for Glenn? Thank you, Glenn. not yet the request in the form of a resolution for the advance on the municipal state aid street funds. Is there a motion?
So move. Second.
Motion by Larry, seconded by Mike. Discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 8, consider the approval of the insurance renewals. Tom?
Mayor and council members, tonight I am bringing before you the renewal on the dental insurance and basically the acknowledgement of the continuation of our life and long-term disability insurance programs with our employees. The Insurance Advisory Committee had met a couple times to consider the dental insurance. They had received a quote from another provider of dental insurance, and after going through it at 2 different meetings, the committee came away with the recommendation that we stay with Delta Dental, who is the current provider for the Delta insurance for the City of Marshall employees, which not only includes the city, it includes utilities, the library, and public housing. So they're all under this same plan. And with the long-term disability and life insurance, it's just basically a continuation, and now acknowledging their premiums will remain the same for another year. The premiums with Delta Dental, their offer was to leave the premiums as they are for 2008, for 2009, and 2010. So really, there's no change in premiums for any of these coverages.
Okay, Charlie, anything from the Insurance Advisory Committee you want to add?
No, they just looked at it, they thought that was the best deal. The other program they brought forward was a little bit less money to start with this coming year, but the way it broke down into 3 different groups, the payees, it came from not only a family, but it had a 1 or 2 person and a single and a family beyond that. And the only real reduction was just in that 2-person status, and because of that, we're going to lose some of the other people that are co-insured with us. Then we're going to go with that program. So the little bit of cost savings that would have been, and there was problems with when you start to make claims with the new policy. You started making claims the first couple of months until they changed the rates. There'd be increases that the employees would have to pay until they got rates established, and usually took 2 to 3 months to get that done. And so there's a number of conflicts that came in, and the insurance advisory people felt that in the best interest of the city to keep what they had.
Okay. Questions from the council?
I'd make a motion that we accept the recommendation and approve it.
Motion by Charlie, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike. Discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 9, consider the annual renewal of the transportation agreement for 2008 with Western Community Action for the transit operation. Tom?
This agreement is an annual agreement that comes before the City Council, which addresses the operations for the transit system between Western Community Action and the City of Marshall. Western Community Action is basically responsible for the administration, dispatching, and operations, and policy requirements for the actual operations of the Western Community, or of the transit. The city's involvement in this program is to, in the financial area, paying 20% towards the acquisition of a new vehicle. And that's kind of an ongoing type item, which they acquire a new vehicle just about every year. And the amount that's included in this agreement is $12,400 as the city's participation in the cost of a new vehicle. So it's pretty much your standard agreement that's in place from year to year for the operation of the transit system.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Tom? If not, is there a motion for the renewal of this transportation agreement?
So moved.
Motion by Mike, second by Dan. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Tom. Agenda item number 10, consideration of approval of the mayoral appointment of the city attorney. As the council is aware that the city charter requires my position to recommend to the council the city attorney for 2-year increments of time. I'm making a recommendation after consultation with City Administrator Ben Martic that Dennis Simpson be reappointed as city attorney for the next 2 years. Ben, you want to make any comments at this time?
I think you covered it clearly, so staff recommendation on the mayor's appointment would be to recommend approval of the appointment.
I entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Larry. Discussion on the motion. None, I'll call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Agenda item number 11, consider the approval of the proposed copier scanner for City Hall. Ben.
Thank you, Your Honor, members of the City Council, back again for an attempt to get this right this time. I think I'll avoid summarizing everything again. We have the memo includes a summary of the necessity or the we feel is needed for a new copier. It's also more than just a copy machine. It also offers a number of scanning opportunities. As you might recall in the past, we presented it, the council passed a motion to put it on for approval at the following meeting, but then we were notified, or we caught, I guess, on our own, that one of the local vendors in the notice of the bid opportunity, or quote, I should say, it's not technically a bid, it's just quotes, written quotes that we were receiving, the email address was wrong, and so they weren't provided notice. So we brought it back to the city council. I felt it was important that although it's not the preferred course of action to reject all the quotes, that in order to give everybody a chance to bid, we felt it was the right thing to do. We brought it back for your consideration to put out quotes again for it. We did recognize that there's a chance that since it was presented publicly, the numbers could be made available, but as long as everybody had an equal shot to sharpen their pencil and go back to the drawing board, we felt, again, that that was the right thing to do. I did include, it's on sections 11.1 and 11.2, 11.3 and 11.4, the items that relate to that. I would put 11.5, excuse me. I'd probably have you focus, though, on 11-2 was the original bids. My handwriting just indicated that that was the case. The Marco was the low quote on the initial bids at $15,725. Then on the next page is the rebid, or requotes that we received. And A and B did submit a proposal. They were not the low quote that we received. That was the one that the email was not included on. The Marco was previously the low quote. However, this time Davis Typewriter, who we currently work with on another in-house machine that's getting quite old, is the one that actually came up with the low quote. This time both on the upfront price as well as the ongoing copy costs that are included. So the recommendation the staff is providing would be to approve the Davis Typewriter bid quote of $12,700. I include their maintenance agreement in your packet for your information, but I did, it was kind of the last minute thing last week. I wanted some provisions changed on the contract, basically on a direct negotiation after it. It was minor changes that I didn't feel were really relevant to the quote, but I thought was important in reviewing it. It just was things like the way the language is written on installation. I wanted 100% of the installation cost covered to get us on the network, free training on the equipment, and equivalent replacement provided in the event that they had to take our machine in for getting work done in the future, which they did agree and resubmitted that. And then the other one was toner, that they would supply 100% of the toner supply needed. There was previously a provision in there that said something to the effect of above what's normal or customary, and so that language was taken out. With that, again, the funding source of this is not a budgeted item. However, the recommendation that's not articulated in this memo, but was in the previous one, is that proposing that we expense it as a capital expense in 2008, either through data processing or administration upon the recommendation of the finance director. I think either one would be appropriate. But then through the budget process, I think we had $16,000 in there the last time around. We would basically replenish that money that we're expensing in 2008 and 2009. So if we take it from reserves or whatever, we'll pay it back. However, we'll have a little bit of a cost savings now from what we were originally anticipating. So the good news about the, I guess, going through this process of putting it out there again is that we save some money on the deal from where we were at the last time. So as an alternative option, I provided a couple of them for you. If you're not comfortable, the quotes are, or prices are good through after the first of the year. We did that intentionally in case the council had any concerns with going ahead with it this year. So that would be one alternative that you could take a look at, is to deal with it through the budget process. But I would like to proceed with it. We've got quite dated equipment. I think would really help us on the end of the year printing that we have to do with budgets and those kinds of things in our final packets. And I think it would also help us get into the digital age with some scanning opportunities and facts could be done directly from that. So with that, I would recommend that the council authorize the approval of the quote with Davis and related maintenance agreement.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Questions for Ben?
Ben, my question is, how did you come up with a 25% discount in less than 30 days on the same equipment?
I can't answer that
I'm
question.
surprised at that. I'm just thinking, it goes from 16 down to 12.7. Which, in this case scenario, maybe we should do this more often.
I know that's what maybe it's something to think about with our new purchasing policy that we're working on. But
Did everything 3 times?
Motion by Dan, seconded by Charlie to approve the purchase. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Agenda item number 12, consider amending the salaries and compensation of the mayor and council members and calling for a public hearing. At our special meeting last week, for budget purposes, there was discussion of rescinding the action that was taken in July to adjust the salaries in light of the budget challenges that we're facing. Dennis, I'm going to turn to you that it's not as simple as just rescinding that action because that was adopted by ordinance, that the action would be, rather than bring it up for discussion tonight, to rescind the previous action, and whether or not the council approves of that or doesn't approve of that, that's not possible, that we would need to call for a hearing and then have that discussion after, at a public hearing.
That's right. If you want to amend, if you want to consider that, you set those salaries by ordinance, you have to amend the ordinance, or, I'm sorry, introduce a new ordinance. So you have to go through this process to call for a public hearing to discuss it, and then if you are going to amend it, then we need the ordinance enacted at that time.
Okay, and then just one last thing before I get to other discussion, that given that there's only one other regular council meeting this year, that if we were to do that, that hearing would have to be called for tonight to be held at December 15th.
Correct.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, several years ago, we always had that, since that time, that meeting in July, and said we'd take the increase that the employees got the previous year. We did that for several years, and I don't recall that we ever ran into having to do an ordinance in December. We took care of it all in July. How did this slip through the cracks this year?
No, you did take that action in July.
Okay.
So to be effective January 1 of '09, it's my understanding that there may be some council member or members who may want to revisit that issue. Should we take the pay increase that we authorized or not?
And that
And
was
so-
done by ordinance.
Correct, in July of '08,
That's
to be
what I
effective
thought,
January.
okay.
Yes, it's already been done.
Okay, okay, okay.
And just one other thing, that discussion in July is required by our charter. We have
Yes,
that discussion.
yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it didn't slip through the cracks. It has.
Was
It
just
was
a-
done.
It was a question that was brought forward, that I brought forward, that, do we want to take that increase knowing that it's really going to be a really challenging budget year, and we may have to, even challenge our workers and our staff people to cut budgets and do things beyond what they're doing. You know, do we want to take a full 3% increase?
Well, I didn't
And
see
consider
a
that?
whole lot of restraint in the requests
Well,
by various.
by the time we get down to the end of the
departments.
budget, we may have, and that's the question I asked.
here last time.
And so, you know, we don't have to do it, we can always vote on it at the next meeting, we call for a hearing. If we want to keep it, we can keep it.
I believe last year, didn't we not do it?
That's correct. That's correct.
I want my big 3%.
I make a motion to call for a hearing.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, seconded by Dan to call for a public hearing that would be held on December 15th for the purposes of discussing the ordinance or rescinding the ordinance. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have a division of the House. All those in favor of the motion to call for the public hearing, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Jane, you have that vote? That motion passes. Okay. Agenda item number 13, Council Member Commission Board Liaison Reports. Actually, none of mine have met since our last meeting. Mike?
Well, it wasn't a scheduled meeting, well, it was scheduled, I'm sorry. It was not a regularly scheduled airport. But on November 21st, while they were taking the tour, we had a meeting, Glenn and I, with the Airport Commission with representatives from MnDOT and the Minneapolis office of FAA about our south quadrant and where we want to put future improvements. And we were led to believe earlier in the year, earlier years, that it might be relatively easy to get funding to put a bridge across the diversion channel directly across from Madrid, just straight into the... we kind of got shot out of the saddle big time at that meeting, and I guess they weren't very optimistic there'd be any federal or state money for that.
I can expand on that. It was part of the $15 million budget adjustment at the end of the legislative session, when the state utilized the $15 million out of the airport fund to balance the budget. And that was a joint agreement between both sides of the aisle. It was done in the last minutes of the session and didn't know what the impacts would be until after the fact. They did say to contact your local representatives for support of returning the $15 million back to the aeronautics fund. That's where the money was going to come from for the bridge and the roadway development project that they had requested us to make the proposal to them to be included in that fund. So they said Mr. Seifert would be one of the primary contact people on the return of any or all of that funding.
Glenn, is there an action that you'd recommend that the council take? And
The recommendation would be, we could maybe bring this at the next meeting, would be a support of the resolution for the replacement of the MnDOT Aeronautics $15 million. Now, you know, should that be $5 million at a time, $1 million here, $1 million there? I don't think we're concerned about that, but it does directly impact the development of our airport, that $15 million.
Glenn's a little bit perhaps too polite. The history of it is in 2002, they took the $15 million to balance the budget to state.
As a loan.
Pardon?
As a loan.
And promised, as a loan, promising to repay it. They repaid the $15 million with no interest, and I think it was a deliberate act of both sides of the House that coincidentally they took the $15 million back again in the last hour of the legislative session when no one could do anything. So I think a resolution will do no good because they had their mind made up for the...
But this would be for future appropriations in the next session. But
Yeah, well, I'm sure this next budget year, it looks real popular too.
that's correct. But something I think our airport commission will discuss too in our next meeting.
Okay, very good. Mike, anything else?
No, again, I think it was a deliberate act by our legislators, including the local.
Any other boards and commissions?
No.
Okay. Larry?
None of mine have really met. I did receive a letter from Marsh Community Center today. A couple of things. On Sunday the 14th, they're going to have a dinner at the Adult Community Center. $6.30 will buy you a full roast beef dinner. Also got some numbers on what they did during the month of October. Found them interesting. 749 meals served at the dining center, 1,791 meals delivered with Meals on Wheels. And then those are numbers that you always look at. But you look at that, that's 25 meals a day that they prepare there, plus another 60 meals roughly for Meals on Wheels.
That's it.
Thanks.
Good. Jimmy?
No, I don't have any.
Mike?
I don't have any.
Dan?
Nothing. I attended the summit and that was it.
And Charlie?
Insurance Advisory Committee met and we both worked on that tonight. The other thing was when I had at the Marshall Area Transit meeting, they talked about their new bus garage out there that they have that, they bought 2 cars that they're going to be using for transporting people rather than paying mileage to people. So they're going to have 2 cars out there, plus they're going to be trying to utilize the Head Start buses as part of their program, as well as what they're already doing through there. So there may be 1 or 2 vehicles parked outside at different times. And when we first talked to them about building that over there, they we didn't want it to look like a junkyard, and they wanted to let me know that there's not room inside for those 2 vehicles, so there may be 2 vehicles sitting there.
Convert the office space.
And Glenn, you've had some conversation with them about that, I believe.
Yes, we had discussion with staff and making sure we get rid of them. They will be relocated.
What's that?
The 2 vehicles you're talking about, I'm sorry, on
Yeah.
4th? Is that the ones?
No, I'm talking about the 2 vehicles that Marshall Transit has out there. They be parking a couple of vehicles.
They can park those outside as long as they're Marshall Area Transit vehicles.
Vehicles, yeah.
They cannot be personal vehicles parked
Yeah.
there.
Well, that's what they're
So
going to have.
they can park outside.
They've been parking for, the Head Start bus has been parked there at church, and they're fine being parked there, but they don't need to move, they can leave
And
them
my
there.
understanding is they are part of the MAP system, Head Start, or will be. The real relationship there, I don't.
I think what the relationship is they want to better utilize the buses by using them for both.
And so will they be owned and operated by Marshall Area Transit?
Yes, and Marshall Area Transit people rather than.
And then there would not be an issue because there would be owned
But
and operated
but they
by
want,
them.
but they want to let us know that there'll be a few vehicles, 1 or 2 vehicles parked outside that are going to be outside.
You will also be seeing a proposal for adding additional indoor garage space out there very soon.
Yeah.
So maybe that will accommodate those extra buses. I'd hate to have a lot of buses, for instance, ones that maybe are waiting for trade-in, just being stored outside. Okay.
Anything else, Charlie?
No, yeah.
Moving on then to agenda item number 14, staff reports. Yeah.
Your Honor, members of the City Council, again, the price is starting to sound a little bit like a broken record, but the primary focus right now this time of the year is getting the budget in line, and so we're continuing to work towards that. It's really the top priority, at least from within my office, to get that going forward. We do have the tax hearing this Wednesday at 5:30. I have been kind of hearing, I would say, a significant amount of calls either fielded by the county, or I've run in a couple situations, private business owners with interest in the hearing. In particular, I think the ones that I'm hearing from are the business owners that saw some large valuation increases from July, or from earlier this year, where their values went up 15%, and then you couple that with our larger preliminary levy of 18%, they got hit with some pretty large increases on their property tax statements. So I've been trying to explain to them on an individual basis as much as we can the valuation issue and then the tax budget issue, and so we'll be kind of gearing up for our truth in taxation hearing with that focus in mind, since we might get some people there. As you know, in our last work session where we left at, where I'm coming in with our levy for 2009 is at 3.5% change from 2008 at the maximum that we'll be coming in at for is what we'll be presenting for the truth in taxation hearing. So it's quite a reduction from the 18% levy increase we were looking at earlier in the year. Now, those people with large variations in their valuations doesn't mean it translates equally that way, but we're going to actually bring the assessor in and not focus a lot at the hearing on the valuation, but we'll at least touch on that issue and let them know that that we will be focusing that evening on our budget presentation and where we're at with the budget and the levy for 09, and then explain to them the opportunity to meet with our assessor on a case-by-case basis in preparation of the 2009 valuations for taxes payable 2010, which, as you know, we have a Board of Appeals meeting in the spring, which is an opportunity for them to come in and raise those objections at that time or questions that they might have in relation to their valuations. Wanted to give you a little bit of heads up on that's where we're heading on Wednesday. And I will have received 2 written comments from people who are not able to attend that I will make available to the council. Might even scan and send them out tomorrow for you. We'll not have any documentation of the graphs and things I presented from last year's in advance of the meeting, but we presented in a PowerPoint the evening, Wednesday evening. I anticipate that I'll be the main presenter, and I expect Tom might have some feedback, as well as Lorna Sandvik, our new assessor, as well. So we're moving ahead with that. We are also, one of the other focuses is continue to work on union agreements. Again, we don't have anything this evening, but there are meetings that are continually going on in those negotiations. I anticipate probably on the 15th of the next council meeting, we will have a follow-up closed meeting discussion looking for more direction from the city council. We had our employee benefits meeting this last week. I think it went over well. We basically summarized the annual adjustments and the changes in the benefits program that we have for employees, what's currently proposed with the budget, subject to the final approval. So we did have that meeting. My understanding was that there hasn't been that type of a meeting presented in the past, and I think it went over fairly well with the staff. I haven't heard any comments to the negative. What we're trying to do is just communicate the different options they have in plans, the policies available for them. Another item that's continually getting reviewed when I do get time is the personnel policy, which will be continuing here in the near future. A couple on the city council meetings for future meeting rooms. We have discussed the concept of meeting off-site at the middle school property for our council meetings. I'm continuing to verify some scheduling issues related to that. Probably will be asking for the council direction on whether you're interested or not in pursuing that on a temporary basis to see how it goes to improve some of the meeting issues that we have here at City Hall. One thing to keep in mind, I think, is with our budget, for those of you who were there, Mr. Bodenheimer was not able to be at the council meeting, but a couple of the items highlighted that were taken out were some of the elevator improvements and things on the budget to try and get our numbers to balance. Some of those I might potentially reconsider if we're not willing to at least make a try at this alternative location, because I think we need to make positive steps forward with maybe some of our accessibility issues. I think some of those could be resolved with taking a look at off-site. But if you have any feedback for me, feel free to stop me or raise those questions in relation to the meeting room alternative that we're looking at. And I'll be emailing some information to you out on the capacity that you'd asked for in the past. So just want to give you a heads up on that, and then we'll probably be trying to get kind of confirmation on where to go next in the near future. A couple of meeting notes. One other thing too. I think I had told you in the past that one of the things we're going to try and do is open up some of the communications to the council as far as the different things the departments have been working on, operational things maybe that we don't really reach the level of our council meetings, but probably are good for you to know about. One example that I'll give you is one council member early on while I was here asked about a statue that was being proposed to be put up by the park that Community Services had been working on for a while, and he didn't catch it maybe in the minutes or other things. But that might be something that we put in these types of updates so the council knows kind of what's going on. If the banners are going up, we might give you a heads up that, hey, Christmas banners will be going out. Just communication type things that we might not highlight really at the council meetings, but what we're looking at doing is on the council meeting weeks is probably when we would propose to do that. So that, because staff does get pretty busy on the weeks that we're preparing for the packets to go out to you, we get pretty busy just getting the memos done and discussing what will be on the agenda and all of those things. So like this Friday, potentially, what we've talked about might be the first time you get that electronic correspondence. It might be kind of a work in progress because I'm expecting some might have very long entries, some short, but we might be trying that this Friday. I'm not completely committing that it's going to come to you, but there's a chance it'll be coming this week. If not this week, then I'm hoping the last meeting in December we'll do it before the Christmas time break that we're on. I want to give you a heads up. A couple of meeting notes. Truth in taxation, again, I covered that this Wednesday evening. I think one item that's not on here that I have on my schedule, and I believe you should have been notified of, is a hospital special meeting on Monday, a week from today. That's not on the council packet information, but I believe that that's at 5:30. Does anybody know? I'm not sure.
I believe it's 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
It's 5 o'clock, but Mary sent me a note today reminding me that the hospital board's going to meet at 4 and be wrapped up at 4:45 so that they can meet with the council afterwards.
And do you have the location? Is it at the hospital?
As far as I know, it's going to be the 3rd floor at a hospital.
That's what I was assumption.
I'll let you know. I'll confirm that tomorrow and let you know.
Okay, we'll email out the council a reminder of that meeting and the location of it as well. They are, I believe, going to be potentially sending out information in advance.
On Friday,
and it will be a closed meeting discussion that will be the primary discussion on Monday as well. With the break, I just haven't had a lot of correspondence with Mary about it, just because it's been scheduled with Kathy Lee. The other one I note on here, I see on the council agenda is a December 4th Ways and Means Committee meeting. I don't have that on my schedule, but I wanted to verify this.
is that the one we're having tomorrow? We're meeting tomorrow, aren't we, at 4?
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, one says Thursday, but it is tomorrow.
Okay, so correction for those on Ways and Means.
I think,
Yeah.
So it's December 2nd.
The agenda is related to the proposed fee resolution adjustments for next year.
wait, let's see, I don't have that written down. The time, is it tomorrow or the 4th?
Tomorrow at 4.
Tomorrow.
So it's December 2nd at 4 p.m. in the Minnesota Grill downstairs. Those are the only other corrections I had with that. I opened it up to any questions. I don't have anything else to add this evening.
Any questions for Ben? No, thank you, Ben. Council member individual items, Jenny?
No.
Larry?
I have none.
Charlie?
None.
Dan? Mike?
Just a quick question on wanting to schedule a L&O. Is that animal and pet nuisance and the wind tower, is there a draft so that we can schedule that meeting, or should we wait till the next meeting to get those scheduled?
I do not have a draft on kennel pet number ordinance.
Would you rather we wait till next meeting to set something up?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike? No. The one item that I would have is, this is the time of year that we would typically do, or I would typically do the council committee appointments. Given that there is no change in the makeup of the council, it's my intention to really leave everything the same unless any council member, has a strong desire to make a change. So if you do want, if you said, I've been on this one long enough and I want to go on one that someone else is on, have that conversation with me and bring that up. Okay? Agenda item number 16 is review of pending agenda items. Any comments on the pending agenda items?
Ben, do you have an idea how long that December 3rd workshop's going to last? Is it going to have, we're having a hearing first?
I don't anticipate the workshop that workshop lasting very long after our hearing. Hopefully we'll have some information about how we're kind of closing that final gap that we're working on with our revenue and expenditures. So depending on how long the hearing goes, I don't expect our follow-up discussion after that to go very long. However, the following work session, that following Wednesday, I would anticipate being a little bit longer one, but we're.
The December 10th one's going to be longer.
Yes. But I kind of feel like we're closing the gap unless there's significant changes, or we're getting fairly close there.
Okay, any other questions on the pending agenda items? If not, Glenn, do you have anything? Yes.
This afternoon, I received a signed copy of scheduled commercial air service agreement. It surprised me. I had a discussion with Sovereign Air this afternoon, and I'll be bringing that proposal forward to the Airport Commission next Monday. And I know that Ben and Dennis and I will have a long conversation about this, making sure that it's what we want, but they didn't change much. I took the agreement that we were going to do with Midwest Aviation, and they changed a very, very small portions of it. Our concerns, of course, are security, TSA requirements, taking 4 to 6 months. Airport certification, that's not a difficult thing, but it takes time for operations plan. Employee training, which is available 12 months out of the year somewhere, but just not in Minnesota. And fire protection, short-term versus long-term. So we have a signed contract that we can look at. And sometimes you're afraid to ask for something because you might get it. So that's, just wanted to update you that we do have a signed agreement by the other side.
Okay, thank you, Glenn.
Great.
Tom, do you have anything? Dennis?
No.
And Ben? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Larry to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're adjourned.